Just put on some headphones and jumped on my machine. And I'm cutting rough and it's coming up all nice and clean. My homie's right behind me and he got some stuff to spray. All together now. Let's maintain that turf today, that turf today, that turf today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Turf Today, recorded on the Superintendent Network and brought to you, as always, by Toro. My name is Adam Kershane, and I'm joined by my co-host, Brian Laurent. And this week, we are talking about something that doesn't always get enough attention in our industry: taking care of yourself. We spend a lot of time talking about turf health, equipment maintenance, course conditions, but what about the people doing the work every day? Joining us this week is a golf fitness instructor, John Irvine from Golf Gains. And John has worked with many different types of golfers, all skill levels, ages, helping them move better, perform better, and stay healthier. In our conversation, he shares his journey into golf fitness and gives some practical advice that every superintendent, assistant superintendent, greenkeeper, and turf professional can benefit from. Now, this is not meant to be a lecture or how-to video or anything like that. John keeps it very simple, very relatable, and just gives some great tips for people looking to make some small changes. We get into topics like sleep, nutrition, hydration, stretching, recovery, a little bit of coffee consumption, and even building healthy habits when you're working long hours and early mornings. We were very lucky to get John and fortunate to talk to him for an hour. This is a great conversation with a bunch of takeaways that you guys can start applying right away. And we're going to jump right into this thing.
How are you, John?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Doing well. Doing real well. Where are you based out of?
Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I don't know if y'all are Canada, right? So y'all probably haven't come down to Memphis too often. If any.
Adam's in Canada. I'm in Ohio, and I've yet to.
Oh, you're in Ohio. Okay.
Yeah, yet to get to Memphis. So we were literally just talking about Memphis and some of the activities down there. So sounds like a place I need to visit.
I've actually been. I played for the Memphis River Kings in hockey, if you can believe that.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. That's
So we played out in South Haven, which is just on the edge of town there, right? But yeah, my gosh, it was fun. We played a lot of golf down there. Probably played more golf down there than we played hockey.
okay. So how long were you in Memphis?
Trying to think of what year that was. I was just there for one season. That would have been 2014 or 2015, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what were kind of like some of the spots and stuff that you tried to hit up?
But I really just picked up golf majorly when I was down there playing. Like that was a big inspiration for me to start working in the golf industry and things like that. So it was a cool start. We also spent a lot of time on Beale Street too.
Beale Street,
wild.
yeah. Back in those days, like downtown was kind of on the up and up. And when COVID happened, it just kind of decimated downtown, and it still hasn't really.
Really, eh?
Yeah, like the last time I've thought about even going to like Beale Street to hang out is like I just like doesn't even cross my mind anymore. Just kind of like, I don't want to do that.
One of those spots.
Yeah, you're just like, I mean, part of it's probably I'm older too, so like it's just not attractive anymore. But part of it is just like downtown just isn't what it used to be, but they are like. They've got big projects and plans for that whole area around the FedEx Forum and the Beale Street, and trying to make it a more like family friendly kind of environment that, like if you would, that just kind of seems like what a lot of sports teams are doing now. They're trying to make like their venues, like building up everything around it to make it just like this one big kind of entertainment district. Like it's got the bones of it, but it kind of needs to get some updating and everything. So. Like it's pretty much all bars, and you don't really want to like take your kids to Beale Street. Really, like there's just nothing really there for them.
I mean, if you want them to get an education, you probably might.
Yeah,
I mean, there might be some quality people watching. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
As superintendents, you're not just managing a course, you're developing the next generation of leaders. and the industry really needs them. That's why Toro hosts its Assistant Superintendent's Experience every August at their headquarters in Minneapolis. It's designed to help rising assistants grow through education, behind-the-scenes tours, site visits, and valuable peer connections. It's a chance to learn, network, and come back better equipped for what's next. Spots are limited. Nominate your assistant today at toro.com/assistant-event.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here going through some stuff from the memorial this morning. So
how's everything going over there?
Beautiful. Golf course is pure, as good as I've seen in a long time. They're kind of in control of things because the weather's been pretty good. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun test. If we're able to dodge Mother Nature here for the next couple of days, that golf course is going to be tough.
Awesome.
Is it what they got the rough up, or what?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we probably got about close to 6 inches of rain last week, so it really got that rough popping, and then everything's dried out since. And so, the greens are firm, fairways are firm. I mean, it's going to play tough. It's going to play. I mean, guys yesterday in practice rounds, I mean, they're hitting 7 irons and they're bouncing off the green. So it's kind of fun.
Boy,
that's
exciting.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Right.
It's only Wednesday, so we'll see what they end up doing. They may have them end up adding some water to the greens to soften them up a little bit. But who knows? Nice. So, John, thanks for joining us here. Like I said, I don't know how far along you guys have gotten, but
nope, waited for you.
Perfect. Well, we'll kick things off. We always like to start it off just giving you an opportunity to introduce yourself. So if you wouldn't mind, just tell us who you are.
Yeah. Name's John Irvine. I'm the founder, owner of Golf Gains Fitness. Not sure how much background or what all you want, but
we need to know your earliest childhood memories, your favorite color, and when you were in 3rd grade, all the things. No, that's perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. Gotcha. So Memphis, Tennessee, then? Are you born and raised in Memphis?
I was actually born in Miami, but moved when I was like 5 years old to Memphis and spent pretty much my whole life here.
You grew up golfing, or was that something you picked up a little bit later?
Not entirely. My dad was a good golfer. He played in college for a little bit. So like when we were younger, he taught us, he would take us out to the course and, we'd hit on the range and stuff. We got like a good, kind of upbringing in it, like grew up around it. But like once I got into like middle school, high school, golf really wasn't on my radar. I was more like football, track and field. Like those were my sports that I pursued and, did that also in college as well. Once I graduated college, that's when I kind of started to pick up golf a little bit more, but didn't really take it seriously until honestly probably about like 5 years ago was when I like really started to be like, I actually like want to improve golf and like practice it and refine it. And that's a whole other story, kind of how I got into that. But yeah, so to answer your question, like grew up around it, but wasn't like playing competitively or anything like that growing up. Just more to tag along and spend time with my dad.
Are you one of the guys then later in life, you look back and like, I always used to joke at all the guys, make fun of the guys that were playing golf. Now I wish I was one of them.
Yeah. Looking back now, I mean, one of my like really good friends, he was a really good golfer, like growing up. Like he was the kid that was playing in all the junior tournaments, was like, ranked as a junior golfer. And so like, I always had like appreciation for it and like respected it. And I was like, man, that, that's great. Like anyone that's excelling in any type of sport, like you can only appreciate it. But yeah, like definitely when, I started to pick it back up again post college, I was like, man, I should have I had a great opportunity, like with my dad, like being a good golfer to like really kind of pick his brain about it and like get some really good teaching. And, I just didn't take advantage of it fully. So yeah, I definitely kind of kicked myself later in life.
So it sounds like there's a story then of you getting kind of back into it and taking it seriously. So what's that all about?
Yeah. So I guess, this can kind of go a little bit into my background and just kind of how I got into starting Golf Gains. So like kind of growing up, I was more into other sports, but, and with that, like, grew a passion for training and fitness. And, post college, I actually wasn't planning on really doing anything in the fitness realm. I was planning on going to medical school was actually the goal. And so that was kind of my sole focus. After like a series of events, like, I applied multiple times to med school and, kept getting waitlisted, applied a third time. And kind of during that point, I was like, all right, if I don't get in, like, I got to figure out, like, what am I going to do? Like I was married at the time, and it was a tough time because you're seeing all your friends that are like kind of growing in what it is that they're wanting to do, and they're kind of establishing themselves. And I just kind of felt like I was stuck. And so I was like, man, if I don't get in, like, I gotta figure out what I'm going to do with my life. So kind of was just thinking like, all right, what is it I'm passionate about? What is it that I'm gifted at? What is it I'm good at? And I was like, I mean, fitness has always been a huge part of my life. Like I majored in sports medicine, which was kind of like it was like exercise science for people that were pre-med. So like, it was almost like a mix between exercise science and like a chemistry minor. So for people that were wanting to go to med school, but like I had a good education when it came to just like physiology and anatomy and, a lot of stuff that's really practical to training and fitness, and stayed on it as well, just through playing sports and working out. But yeah, so like during that third time I got waitlisted, that's when I started thinking about opening up a gym in Memphis, and had some connections when I was in college and kind of cultivated those, talked to them about opening up my first gym in Memphis. Yeah, pulled the trigger on it, and I was like, all right, this is what I want to do. This door's opened up, and decided to go that route. And the crazy part is the week after, like, I committed to opening the gym was when I got my acceptance letter to UT Med School here in Memphis. Yeah, like literally, like I'm not exaggerating at all. It was the same week after I committed to it. So then I was kind of like faced with that decision of, okay, like I've already committed to this, but like this opportunity finally opened up. Like, what do I do? And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to stand by my commitment. And honestly, at that point, I was kind of like, I was like super excited about the gym. I was like, this is what I want to do. So I deferred med school, pursued the gym. And I was like, worst case scenario, if it doesn't work after a year, like I can, so when you defer it, you can take it on later. But, the gyms were doing well, and it was what I love. So I was like, all right, this is what I'm doing. So never looked back. The gym that I have two now, and I still own and operate those. Very much like your functional fitness, kind of more closely related to like CrossFit type of workouts. And so like with that, I got really into competing and doing all sorts of fitness competitions, and kind of ate it up and loved it, and was able to compete at a pretty high level. Kind of got to the point where I was like, man, this is like really taking a toll on me. Like I enjoy the training and I like it, and it kind of filled that competitive juices that I had, and it fulfilled that. At some point when you're doing those competitions, they just wear you down. And I kind of got to the point where I was like, man, I can't keep doing this. Like every time I do a competition, I'm left just like with some injury. And I was like, all right, well, what can I train for that like I enjoy and could be something that I can do for the rest of my life? And I was like, well, golf has kind of like always been like a hobby of mine. Like I'm not very good at it, but maybe if I tweak my training to it and start pursuing that, then like maybe that can be something that's enjoyable and I can do for the rest of my life. So tweaked my training a little bit to be more focused on golf and improving my golf game. And people kind of started to notice, started asking me to train them in the gyms and write programs for them. And then eventually started creating content on Instagram and other social media platforms. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And then Golf Games was kind of born out of that. So that's my story, how I got into it.
Geez, busy guy, then you got a lot going on. Do you take on a lot of different clients? Have you worked with some professional golfers, or are you more amateurs or college students?
I'd say my sweet spot is really, like, yes, I do work with people that are, trying to get on tour and really high level golfers, but really my sweet spot is just like your everyday guy that, works a full-time job, elsewhere, that is just looking to like get in better shape and improve their golf game. Because that's my original passion, was just helping people get into the best shape possible. Like before I started Golf Games, when I had my gyms, like that's just what I love, because I view fitness as an amplifier to everything in life, whether it's golf, whether it's being a better parent, spouse, your work. Like the fitter you are, just the better you're going to be at it in general. So that's what I was like really passionate about. And so I kind of like using golf now as an excuse to help get golfers in better shape. So like if I can create, a program that's going to help them get better at the thing that they really enjoy doing and like, and at the same time, like they're getting stronger, they're getting more mobile, like their blood work is getting better as well. Like it all adds up. And So that, I would say that's kind of my sweet spot, is just like your amateur golfer that enjoys it, they like it, they want to get better at it, but at the same time, like they know that they need to get healthier and fitter just for everyday life and everything that comes with it.
So we probably jumped ahead a little bit and skipped over a little piece.
Possibly.
What is golf gains?
What is golf gains? Okay, good question. So I would say golf gains, really there's like two kind of avenues with golf gains. But like to describe it simply, it is an app that I have that there's kind of two different directions that you can go. So I have like a base subscription. You can get into the app. There's a bunch of different programs that are in there depending on like what levels of equipment you have, what your goals are, and people can follow it and pick which program they want. And, there's other resources and community group and stuff in there. But then I also do work with people one-on-one as well that want a more like custom, tailored approach to it. And so I'll work with people directly. I create custom programs for them. I do TPI evaluations with them. I also have a PGA certified swing coach on my team as well. So you get swing coaching. So really it kind of covers everything you need from a golf fitness standpoint all in one central location. But really the main goal is just to help, your everyday golfer get stronger body and swing so they can perform better on and off the course. Really kind of my tagline right there.
So how much when you started venturing into, I guess for lack of a better term, golf fitness, how much did you have to learn about the golf swing and, kind of which muscles you need to activate and things like that?
Yeah, a pretty good amount. I mean, I was very familiar with, a lot of like the energy systems and, strength training and just general strength and conditioning for sports or just for life. And to be honest, like, yes, I had to learn a lot about the golf swing and like the kinematic sequence and, just the particulars of golf. But from a training standpoint, there's actually a lot more similarities than you would think between, like my background was like, training for track and field and football, which are both like, power, explosive sports. And a lot of people don't really think of golf as being that. But to be honest, like I think a lot of people think of golf to be like more similar to like marathon training and just like more of like an endurance sport. But in reality, it's going to be more similar to, like hockey, like what you've played, Adam, or, track and field, football, like stuff that's mainly power and explosiveness. So a lot of that stuff definitely translates into golf, even though you just think, most people think like that's two completely different athletes. But of course, like with golf, there's going to be more of a rotational element to it. So honestly, it's probably more similar to hockey than really any other sport, or baseball.
That's why all the hockey and baseball players tend to hit it a mile and are pretty good players.
Exactly. Like they've got those foundation, like they understand how their body kind of coordinates into that rotational swinging movement. It's just, once they kind of dial in a little bit of the technique and like how to square up the club face correctly, they're naturals at it. So yeah, I work with a lot of hockey players, a lot of former baseball players, and like I would say those are the ones that typically see the best results the fastest because they have those fundamentals already in place.
They got that cheat code already.
Exactly.
We've talked to a lot of different superintendents on this show, and it's definitely a hard lifestyle. It's definitely one of those things where guys are go, go, go. So one of the things we wanted to highlight today was just, having that fitness background and maybe just providing a little bit of advice for our community and some of the things that they can do to take care of themselves. I think I'd just like to start with maybe talking a little bit about sleep, how important that is. Everybody's getting up so early to go to the golf course now and might have families that they're taking care of late at night. So just talk a little bit about sleep and recovery.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think you need to be getting 7 hours of sleep. Like that to me is kind of what you need for your body to be able to recover and, do the things that it needs to do. So I think you're doing yourself more harm than good if you're, going to bed at 10, 11 p.m. and waking up, before 4 a.m. Like you're just like, you might think you're doing yourself like a really big favor, but like your sleep is that's where your muscle is going to be growing. That's when your body's recovering. That's, one of the best things you can do is sleep. So
is that consistent sleep, John? Is that like all in one, all in one sitting, I guess? Like, can you say a guy, someone can't get to bed, again, kids, all that stuff, they can't go to bed till 10, but they have to be at the golf course at 5, so how do naps kind of work into that? Like if you get an hour nap during the day, is that something that's going to be beneficial to you, obviously, in that recovery mode that you referenced?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not like a sleep expert, and I would probably need to look at some of the studies more closely, but like from what I've
Look, you're more of an expert than any of us are, John, so you're good. You're good.
But from what I know, like, yes, it does accumulate. Like,
Okay.
it'd be, the same way if you're working out and, if you do a 30-minute session, in the morning and a 30-minute session in the afternoon, like it's going to add together. And, I would assume sleep is going to do the same thing. Or, like taking a power nap during the day you're going to get some of those benefits. But I would say, like, if you could, I would try to do it all at once and see if you can get, 7 hours uninterrupted at night. Probably ideal, just because you're like with the way like your sleep stages work, like, you want to be getting into deep sleep. I don't know like how much deep sleep you're getting. And then 1 hour like power nap. So maybe it's not quite as effective as it is if you're getting it like during your normal sleep time, but I'm sure it does help.
Hey, thank you for listening to the Turf Today podcast. My name is Michael with Steiner Golf Company, and we know that spring isn't just a season. It is go time. It is time to get your course dialed in, ready for everything the season has to bring. Whether that's early tee times, member play, public play, outings, and tournaments, that is where Steiner Golf comes in. We are here to help with everything you need to get your course looking the best this upcoming year. From brand new flags, flag sticks, tee markers, bunker rakes, cups, hole cutters, and everything in between. Because when the golfers show up, first impressions always matter. So this spring, open your course and set the standard for some awesome accessories. Now back to Turf Today.
What about, a lot of the guys in our industry, I mean, they're out on a golf course, driving in golf carts. What kind of stuff can they be doing in the mornings or during the day as they're bouncing around from meeting to meeting, running around from golf hole to golf hole, checking on things? How can they maybe stay active or fit, little things they can do on the golf course as they're out checking things out in the mornings?
Yeah. So I'm very much interested to know like what the day-to-day is like of a superintendent. So
there's no such thing as a normal day, John.
Okay. So here's what I would say. Ideally, I know like if you're getting there at 5 a.m., like it's very hard to do anything before then. Like you pretty much are going to have to be waking up, I'm guessing around, if you're trying to work out before the day starts, like you're having to wake up probably around 3:30 a.m., do a 45-minute workout, and then you got to get ready for the job, like that doesn't give you a whole lot of time. So, I mean, but if you're someone that is able to go to bed early and wake up that early, that would probably be best. Cause because it sounds like the thing that would be the most beneficial for superintendents, like if you're pretty active during the day, like you're getting a lot of steps in, like you're getting a lot of that stuff in. So the stuff that you're probably lacking the most is going to be like your strength training and power training. And that I find to be more effective to do that when like your body's feeling fresh. Like it's going to be a little bit harder to do that after a grueling day. You've been spending time in the sun. You've been walking around a lot. You've been doing a lot of activity to try to save that at the end. Like I'm sure a lot of people, they probably have the intention of like, I'm going to work out when the day's over, but they get done. They're just like, I'm exhausted. So like ideally, and I know it's hard, like when you're in peak season like this to like get up early and do it. But as long as you're able to you just got to be disciplined. You got to go to bed early. So that way you can get, and it might be one of those things like during peak season, like maybe you're only able to get, 6.5 hours of sleep at night. And like, that's sufficient. Like that's going to be enough. Like, is it ideal? No. But during that time period, like it can be good enough to get you through it and give you enough rest to where your body is able to recover a little bit. But at the same time, you're able to wake up, get some really good training in before the day starts. And then, because then like, the other stuff that we think about with golf, like your mobility, more of like your endurance type work, like, that stuff you can do later in the day. Like your body doesn't have to feel amazing to do mobility work or to do some endurance training. So like that stuff you could save later. But yeah, depending on what it is specifically that you're doing, I would just say like, if you're wanting to get stronger, if you're wanting to get more powerful, like you got to figure out a way for your body to be fresh to do that stuff, to be the most effective.
Got to get some squat racks for the shop then.
Just everybody pull in and
it's just
grab a
load
coffee and
sandbags,
start
dude.
lifting.
Just load
There you go.
sandbags off the pallet. Just move them onto the
Well,
back
yeah.
of the Workman. Yeah, good. All good.
Or like y'all said, everyone's got different schedules. So it's just a matter of like just figuring out, all right, when can I carve out 45 minutes to get after it and do it at a time where I'm not going to be completely exhausted.
So John, I've heard you say 45 minutes at least 2 or 3 times now. Is there like a minimum amount of time that you should spend training where you're going to actually do gains, or is it just one of those things like whatever you can do? If it's 5 minutes of power work or whatever it is, like just do 5 minutes and move on.
Yeah. I find 45 minutes to be a good sweet spot for like I was talking about, my typical clientele is like, you're busy professional, like they don't have hours to spend at the gym, like they're working, strenuous jobs, they're demanding jobs, they've got other life things, like they don't have time to spend, multiple hours at the gym. So like, and 45 minutes I find is like a good sweet spot where you can accomplish a lot and you can get a lot of different stuff done. So like, I kind of found like a winning formula for like a 45-minute workout is you're going to want to spend about, 10 to 15 minutes warming up. And then from there, you've got about 35 minutes of like actual, like, all right, let's get after it kind of work. And like, you got to be efficient. You can't like be lollygagging around and, on your phone, chatting to whoever. Like you gotta be efficient, but that would at least give you time to like do either like 2 to 3 blocks of, all right, I'm going to do some like really good strength work or some power work at the beginning. Like that's what I typically try to focus on at the beginning of my workouts is, like if we're talking power stuff that where you're moving weight fast or, you're doing more like speed work stuff like plyometrics, or maybe you want to do like some swing speed training or something like that. Like you want to do that at the front end. You want to do that when your body is the freshest, it's moving the fastest, because you're going to get the best adaptations there. If you're fatigued and you're trying to move fast, like it's not going to work as well. So like I would spend about 15 minutes doing like really good strength or power work. And then kind of depending on what your goals are, like if you're wanting to work more on your endurance, then you can get a lot of like good endurance, maybe some cardio work in like another 15-minute window. Or if you're wanting to do more strength work, power work, you could do that as well. But that gives you about 35 minutes of getting some really solid training in addition to like a good warm up where you're, doing some corrective exercises, some mobility training within that 15 minutes as well. So yeah, that is a good way to, or what I have found to work best for most people.
Yeah, and it's a grind throughout the summer. Guys go through long weeks, long hours, so it can be tough. And I think there's a lot of great advice there. When we move over to hydration, I know that's one thing that really, really can be tough. Long hot days in the sun, and we also find that there's a lot of coffee drinking in the morning too. So talk to us a little bit about your coffee drinking and then hydration.
Yeah, I drink a lot of coffee. It's only 10:30 right now, and I've already had 4 espresso shots.
Okay. Buzzing.
Yeah. No, I drink I just love coffee. Like, I just love the taste of it. And, like, I drink it more for the taste than the caffeine. I don't know if the caffeine affects me quite as much. But, yeah, I mean, caffeine's a natural diuretic, so, like, it's going to make you go to the bathroom more. So, but, yeah, like, I don't really think as much of, like, how coffee is going to really, like, affect my hydration or the caffeine. Like, I'm going to drink my coffee and then I'm going to drink my water or electrolytes and all that stuff in addition to that. And like for y'all, I mean, it's super important. Like if you're out on the course, you're sweating a lot, and kind of the typical rule of thumb for most people is drink half your body weight in ounces. So if you're a 200-pound guy, drink 100 ounces of water. For most people, that's going to be plenty. But like if you're out on the course a lot, and you're sweating a lot, like you're going to need to drink more than that. Like that's not going to be enough. Funny story. So like actually on Monday, so 2 days ago,
I was literally just going to ask you about this, but go ahead.
Oh, about the 99 hole thing? Did you see that?
Yeah. Oh, no way.
Yeah. So there's this is the 3rd year I've done it, but every year we do, it's me, and this year we had 25 guys do it, where we walk 99 holes carrying our bags, and it's all going to like first tee and to support like the course that we play at. It's like one of those, like it's a course designed for junior golfers, and they have like one of the oldest junior golf tournaments in the country is there. So it's all raising funds to go to that. So pretty much to support like junior golf. But yeah, so we're walking 99 holes and, we're in Memphis. It's hot. It's humid. I mean, we did it on Monday and it was probably the hottest day of the year. It was every bit of 92, 93 degrees, which, it'll get hotter come July and August. But like for June, that's pretty hot. I mean, it had been raining so much. It was so muggy. It was so humid. The humidity was maxed out. So like out of the 3 years that we've done it, it was definitely the hottest. I no lie, like I probably filled this water bottle up. I don't even know how many ounces this thing is. Probably like 30 ounces or 24 ounces, something like that. I bet I filled this up at least once every loop around. So it was 11 loops on around a 9-hole course. So I drank 11 of these at least, plus they had some like Gatorades and other drinks. So I probably had like equivalent to, I don't even know what the math is on that. Like it was probably like 300 ounces of water or of liquid. And I think I only peed once the entire day. Like I was sweating so much.
How many shirts did you use? Shirts and pairs of socks.
So this is the strategy. So now that I've done it 3 times. So the strategy is every 18 holes, you're changing your shoes and socks. And then every 36 holes, I would do a complete wardrobe change. So like clothes, everything. Yeah. Gold Bond's your best friend as well.
Yep. You go extra strength? You go to the blue bottle?
No, I think I just had the standard orange bottle. I did see some blue bottles floating around, but
yeah. You're number 4. Invest in the blue bottle.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Well, I did good. I mean, I felt good throughout it. Yeah. No chafage, which is usually the number one thing.
Nice.
Your feet, the blisters. That's the other thing you got to really worry about. But this year I felt like I did good. I was very well prepared for it. Yeah. Like yesterday I was talking to some of the other guys that were doing it. It was their first year doing it. And they were like, oh man, I'm like completely like dead. I had experience doing it and I was like, I actually kind of feel good. I felt like just yesterday I just kind of did like maybe like a normal / harder workout, but I actually worked out yesterday because I felt fine. I was like, I feel good. So
how many steps was that playing 99?
Over 50,000 steps.
Oof.
Yeah.
Today.
Which equates to about a marathon.
Yeah.
It was right at 25 miles.
Wow.
It's about walking a marathon, carrying your clubs, playing golf. It took us 14 and a half hours to do it.
That's awesome. So, I did the 100-hole hike back
at Sweetens.
And no, so this is like back when it first started, gosh, probably close to 12 years ago. I did 108 holes and I still probably had 2 hours of daylight left. I couldn't walk anymore. Like my knee still hurts from doing it. Like I don't know how you worked out the next day. That's insane. That's impressive.
Which course did you do it at?
I did mine at Double Eagle here in Columbus, Ohio, which when I was figuring out what course I was going to play at, I totally forgot that they had a couple holes out there with some pretty severe ravines. So some pretty severe walking downhill, then back uphill. And I got to the point at the end, I started walking downhills backwards because like if I tried to walk forward, my knee just was giving out and I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. There's always that like one spot on the course when you walk it, you're like, oh gosh, we're back to this spot again. For the course that we were playing out between like holes 2 and 3, it's like this really long, I don't even know how long it is. It's probably like 500 meters or something like that you're walking in between. And every time you're just like, oh
man,
we're at this spot. Like, I just want to get to the next hole.
Yeah. It's a lot of wasted steps, not hitting a golf ball, right? Yeah,
exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah. But that's awesome that you did it. That's, it's a really fun experience. And I'm surprised you had that much daylight left. Like, I mean, we teed off at 5:40 in the morning, like right when daylight, right when the sun started rising, and we were like pushing it. Every year it's the same thing. We think we're making good time, and then we get to like the last 18 holes and we're always like, we gotta hustle or else we're not gonna be able to see.
Yeah. Well, I was lucky. I was the only one pretty much on the golf course. I think I maybe saw 2 other people the whole day. So like, I mean, I was playing,
that's good.
Yeah, I was playing 18 holes in about an hour and 50 minutes, 2 hours max. So I mean, it was, but I didn't carry my clubs. You guys went the extra mile. You guys carried your own clubs. I had
Yeah.
caddies with me, so we had a rotation of people carrying my clubs. It was nice.
Yeah, but
That's nice.
Yeah, still, you definitely got like, I mean, we're carrying our clothes, but like, everyone's taking like, Sunday bags where you're only carrying, 6 or 7 clubs.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're carrying a 50-pound bag on you. So you're trying to make it as easy as possible on yourself.
Yeah. No, that's good for you. That's awesome. How much money did you end up raising?
So as a whole, our goal was to raise 125,000. Last time I checked, we're like right around 140.
Wow.
So
Awesome.
yeah, so we ended up surpassing our goal, which is great. Yeah, it's going to good use. So.
Yeah, that's great. You mentioned earlier TPI. Tell everyone what TPI certification is and kind of that process.
Yeah, so TPI, it's Titleist Performance Institute. So they're, probably the leaders when it comes to like education in the golf fitness space. They have a lot of different courses and certifications that you can go through. So I've done several of their courses, and there's like different tracks. There's like a fitness track. If you're a swing coach, there's a track for swing coach. If you're a medical professional, like a physical therapist, there's a track for that. So obviously I'm in the fitness realm, so I'm more on that track. But yeah, I mean, it's great. That's, a lot of my base like golf knowledge came from doing those certification courses, years ago. And then I've just slowly been, doing more and more, just getting more and more education on it. But yeah, those have been immensely helpful. So like, yeah, whether you're in the swing coaching medical field or the fitness field, like I would 100% recommend going through those courses. Dr. Greg Rose, he's kind of the main guy there. Like he knows his stuff. He's been around it forever. And like, you can just tell like he lives and breathes golf fitness. And so yeah, I like a lot of their stuff. So like one of the things that I really like about them, their course is the evaluation and like the screening. So it's like, you go through about like 20 different tests looking at people's mobility, strength, power, just trying to identify what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, how that could affect their swing. And so anyone that's in my one-on-one program, I put them through a full TPI evaluation. So, if they're in person, obviously I can do it with them in person if they're at one of my gyms here in Memphis. But I work with the vast majority of the people I work with are online. So I do it through like a Zoom call and walk them through and tell them, hey, this is what I want you to do, perform it. I'll watch them do it, take some notes. But that really just kind of helps me know, okay, this is the stuff that we really need to work on. Like, some people come in, they're like, yeah, like, I can't rotate my T-spine is tight. And, we go through the test. We're like, actually, it's not your T-spine. Your T-spine rotates perfectly fine. Like, it's actually like your hip internal rotation. And so they're like, oh, wow, like, I didn't even think about that. So it definitely helps kind of figure out, okay, where are the real underlying issues and things that are maybe causing, injuries and pain, or just causing certain misses with your golf swing, or just like any power leaks. If you're not, you got guys that they're strong, they're powerful, but like for some reason it's just not translating into them hitting the golf ball far, and it helps with that as well.
Beautiful. Well, let's head over to nutrition here. Just want to talk about, how guys can do a better job of eating, maybe some ideas for breakfast in the morning. Like we talked about earlier, people are waking up so early in the morning, go. So, trying to get a proper breakfast or, even a good lunch sometimes can be tough. So maybe just some tips for, some better nutrition.
Yeah. So when it comes to nutrition, here's like what I would rate. So I assume, most people that I work with, it's kind of the two main goals. I want to lose a little bit of weight. I want to trim up, and I want to get stronger and gain muscle. Like those are by far the two most common things. And then, maybe third is like, I just want to like feel better, like have more clarity. Sometimes I feel like, the food that I'm eating is just like making me just feel lethargic, and like, I just don't feel like I'm getting the right like nutrients. So if I was going to rate like what are the main things that you need to focus on, I would say like number one is going to be your calorie intake. That's if we really want to simplify it, calories in versus calories out, just mathematically in the laws of thermodynamics, like you can't gain weight if you're in a calorie deficit. Like it's impossible. It's not going to happen. So that's like the first thing. Like if you're trying to lose weight, being in a calorie deficit, that's a big thing. You don't want to be in like too much of a calorie deficit. Like ideally you want to be kind of in that like 200 to 300 calorie deficit. Cause like if you're trying to lose weight, losing a pound or two a week, that's all you want to do. Like I don't like, I'll have some clients and they'll be like, hey, I lost like 5 pounds this week. I'm like, that's not what we're looking for. Like that probably means like you just, like you just didn't eat enough. Like I don't want to see you losing that much weight, because if you're losing that much weight, good chances are that you're losing muscle mass. And that's going to hurt your performance, and we don't want that. So the number one is going to be calorie deficit. I would say number two is going to be your macronutrients, which are going to be your proteins, carbs, and fats, and make sure that we're getting the right balance of those. And really the main one that I want to focus on is your protein intake. Carbs and fats, like if we really want to nerd out, we can talk about like what you should be eating there. But like as long as you're staying at the right calorie number, the protein is the next thing that I'm really worried about, and how much protein you're getting. So a good rule of thumb is 1 gram per pound of body weight. So or like what your ideal body weight would be. So like, let's say you're 200 pounds right now, and maybe your goal is to be 190 pounds. Let's shoot for 190 grams of protein. That's just like an easy way to think about it. And then like your carbs and fats, like you can kind of do whatever you want with that, as long as you're just not going over your calorie intake for the day. So that would be the second thing that I would really focus on. And then the third thing would just be like the quality of food. Like what is it that you're eating? Are you getting your calories from, Hostess cupcakes? Or are you getting it from like fruits and veggies and, good quality
Mick Ultras?
Mick Ultras. If we're talking the golfers, transfusions and Mick Ultras, you don't want your calories coming from that. So just make sure like you're eating good, like whole foods. You're eating real pieces of meat. You're eating fruits, veggies. Like honestly, if you can just stick with eating like meat, fruits, and vegetables, it's kind of hard to go wrong with that. Like you're going to feel good, you're going to look good, you're going to perform well. Like that's kind of like, I would say like if you're just kind of starting out and you're just like, I don't really know what to eat, I would just say if you can make 80% of your diet be meat, fruits, and veggies, you're going to do well just with that. But as far as like specific stuff, so I guess your question was like, what's a good breakfast that you could eat? I guess I can just share like what I typically eat in the morning. I'm 200 pounds. I'm trying to stay in that 200 to 205 pound range. So I'm trying to get around 200 grams of protein every single day. In order to do that, like I need to be getting around 50 grams of protein for each of my meals. So like breakfast, I'm trying to get around somewhere close to 50 grams. A lot of times I'm going to be probably more in like 40-ish range. Lunch, I'm going to be trying to get around 50 grams. And then dinner is typically where I'm going to get a little bit more protein. I'm going to eat a little bit more at dinner. I honestly, I don't eat like a ton. I probably only eat like 700 to 1,000 calories like before dinner. And then I'm going to eat like another 1,500 calories probably around dinner time. So, but if you can, you do want to space out your protein. You don't want to eat it all at one sitting. If you can have like a steady stream of protein getting into your body like throughout the day, like that's the best way to do it. So I would eat something for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then on top of that, you're probably going to want some type of protein supplement, whey protein, or just a snack that's high in protein that's going to get you another, 40-ish grams of protein. But for breakfast, what I'll like kind of my go-tos right now, I'll take about a cup and a half of non-fat Greek yogurt. So that's going to be a good protein base right there. Put some frozen blueberries on top of that. And then something that I'm really obsessed with right now is there's this, are you familiar with like the Kodiak brand, like Kodiak cakes? They make like the protein pancakes that are pretty famous.
Oh yeah.
So they make a granola that is a really good protein granola. Because a lot of the things that are advertised as protein granola, like I'm not a big fan of soy protein, and they really like don't even have that much protein in them. But the Kodiak granola is actually like, it's really good. It uses whey protein, which I'm a bigger fan of, and it's higher in protein. And I'll sprinkle some of that on there just to get some extra protein on that. So like if I'm eating that, I'm getting around 40 grams of protein in the morning and getting some, fruit, some other carbs from the granola as well. So that's a good start to the day. That's going to get me, up to lunch. Another thing that I'll eat in the morning, egg whites. I'll eat egg whites. Sometimes I just kind of get sick of egg whites, so they're just kind of flavorless. And a good way, like if you, because that's probably the hardest thing about like trying to balance your getting the amount of protein that you need is being able to do it in a way that's not going to get you over your calorie goal. So like, like a good example would be, eggs. Like I think eggs are great. It's a great food. I'm not like the type of guy that's like, you don't need to eat eggs because it's going to spike your cholesterol and all that stuff. Like, I'm not worried about that. But what I will say is if you're trying to eat whole eggs as your protein source, like there's also a lot of fat that is in eggs. So it's hard like to eat 40 grams worth of protein from eggs without getting just like a ton of fat as well. That is just going to not really set you up for success to be able to get the amount of protein that you need without being excessive with your calorie goals. So a good way to combat that would be, if you're someone that likes eggs in the morning, maybe instead of eating like 5 whole eggs, eat 2 whole eggs and you do like 3 egg whites and mix that together. That way you still feel like you're eating eggs and it's not as bland as just eating straight egg whites. So I kind of alternate back and forth between those. Like I'll have either like an egg type breakfast or more of a Greek yogurt type breakfast. And it just kind of depends on the mood I'm in, on what I'm eating. But the main goal is try to get 40 grams of protein in that first meal of the day.
We are back with another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring PhD agronomist Tony Goldsby from the Andersons. Our question today comes in from Jake. What is your best recommendation for Bermuda mites?
Awesome. Well, thanks again for having me on the show this week, Adam, and thanks again for all the great end user questions. This one coming in from Jake M this week. Well, first and foremost, I would say, especially this time of year, make sure that you're actually dealing with Bermuda grass mites would probably be my first step. So, those symptoms can look a lot like either drought stress, nutrient deficiencies, even a little bit of late spring dead spot that's probably still hanging around. So making sure that you really get a proper diagnosis first is probably the most critical part. And then once you've confirmed that you're actually dealing with mites, really an effective miticide is going to be, the most impactful, and then obviously maximizing that coverage. So what's really unique about the Bermuda grass mite is it lives pretty deep within the leaf sheath of the turf grass itself. So often spray volume is really important to make sure you get good control. And in many cases, when you get poor control, it's more likely that the product just didn't get down to where the mite was because you had too low of carrier volume rather than the spray itself not working, right? So those ultra low sprayer volumes, half gallon, some of those that are, getting put out now on greens and places like that certainly can be okay for some products, but especially for this one, you want to make sure you have ample water that's going down with that miticide. And then, any cultural practice that you can do just to help encourage the recovery, it's not going to come back overnight, especially if it was truly Bermuda grass mites. So anything you do to keep your thatch under control this time of year and just keep that healthy growth going is certainly going to help to have it bounce back, right? So check and make sure it's mice first and foremost. The miticide will get you cleaned up with a good amount of carrier, and then just give her some tender loving care to try to get her back out of it would be my recommendation.
Awesome. Great advice. That's not something I've come across before. So when that question came in, I was like, oh, here we go. That's a fun one.
There you go.
We'll be back with Tony next week. This wraps up another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring Dr. Tony Goldsby from the Andersons.
All right, so someone's got limited space for gym equipment and stuff like that. What's the most important piece of equipment you think you would recommend?
I get asked this all the time. I'm gonna stick with what I always tell people. It's a barbell and plates. Like, it's the most versatile. You're gonna be able to progress the most because like kettlebells, dumbbells, medicine balls, like all that stuff's great. But at some point, you're gonna get to a point where you're gonna get stronger than the amount of weight that you have especially with kettlebells, unless you want to buy a 200-pound kettlebell, but like it's hard to find one of those. And it's.
Does Amazon ship those free? I don't know.
But
200-pound kettlebell.
Yeah, I doubt it. Yeah, I would feel bad for the delivery drivers.
Yeah, no kidding.
But if you're in fitness, like the things that you have to do, no matter what sport you're playing, whether it's golf, whether it's baseball, whether it's football, whether it's hockey, like you've got to master the fundamental movement patterns, which are going to be like, this is what I would break them down into. So you've got your squats, you've got your kind of single leg knee dominant movements, so lunges, split squats. I would consider those 2 separate ones. You got your hinge patterns, which would be like your deadlifts or RDLs. And then you got your upper body push and pull. So, or horizontal push and pull, vertical push and pull. So bench press, row, lat pull downs or pull ups and shoulder presses. Like those are kind of the foundational movements that like, no matter what sport you're in, you need to be strong. You need to be powerful in those movement patterns. And a barbell is going to allow you to really maximize all those. Because, like, yes, you're going to start out light, but like over the course of time, you're going to want to keep increasing the weight and be able to do more and more with that. And like with the barbell, you've pretty much got infinite amount of weight. But, not many people are going to be using over 500 pounds, which, on any of those movements. I mean, if you are, then that's amazing and good for you.
Those guys aren't working on the golf course, I don't think.
yeah, exactly. But if you're trying to get better at golf, like, you don't need to be exceeding 500 pounds on any of those movements. So, you're going to be able to pretty much progress as much as you want. You're not going to run out of equipment. The only thing you'll have to do is just buy plates with it. And then if I can cheat a little bit and add something to that, I would say add a landmine attachment. Are you familiar with what a landmine is?
No.
I have one right in front of me. But so a landmine, here, I'll grab it real quick.
All right.
New technology here.
Yeah, I love it.
All right. So this right here, this is a landmine. So this is like a very simple landmine attachment. It's not very expensive. And so you would put a plate on the ground and you would stick this through the center of it. And then you would put one end of the barbell in here. So you've probably seen this before.
Oh, you're doing this one, right?
Yeah. So what it does is it can turn your barbell into almost like a whole other machine where you can do a lot of unilateral work. So you can do single arm presses, single arm leg work, stuff like that. You can also do a lot of rotational movements with it. So like landmine rotational clean and presses. So it just kind of opens up a whole new realm. And, you could buy probably a landmine off Amazon for $50, so it's just like a nice accessory that you can have that just opens up a whole new exercise library for you. So I would say start out if you've got the space and you could do it. I would say barbell plates, landmine, ideally maybe have a squat rack with that.
Dude, you're adding a lot to this little room, dude. I mean, John, I got 4 kids, and a garage full of bikes that they don't ever touch. So,
yeah. Well,
that's awesome.
Toss the bikes. Great. They probably won't even notice.
No, they wouldn't. Yeah. They wouldn't. They're all wanting those e-bikes now. I'm like, no, that ain't happening. You got to pedal. Come on, guys.
Yeah, but yeah, you could, if you have like a little square footage, that would be ideal. But if you don't have like any space at all, I mean, kettlebells like that's a great implement to have that. You could do a lot with the kettlebell as well. So
we're joking about, the 500 pounders. I mean, it kind of goes into a good question I wanted to ask was like, at what point does strength become detrimental to the golf swing, and muscle mass and some of that stuff? Is there a point where the flexibility starts to lack and all that stuff?
Yeah, this is a great question that gets brought up a lot. So I'm of the belief that you can never get too strong. Can you get too like bulky and big? Like, yeah, you can, but like you can't get too strong. Like I would never just try to limit someone's strength and be like, don't get any stronger. I mean, yeah, like there's a point where you're going to start seeing like you're going to kind of cap out. Like the difference of you being able to squat 400 pounds versus 500 pounds and how that affects your golf swing is to be very minimal. However, the difference between squatting, let's say 200 pounds to 300 pounds, like there's going to be a big improvement between that. For anyone. But yeah, at some point, you're going to start to see the diminishing return. In terms of like, I would say most people do not need to worry about getting too strong. I think a lot of people have this misconception that if you lift heavy, you're going to turn into like, one of those bodybuilders that you see on stage. I'm just going to go ahead and say like, that did not happen by accident with those people. Like they did not like start lifting weights and they were like, oh my gosh, like all of a sudden I'm the Incredible Hulk. And, those people, they're eating excessive amounts of calories. They're spending, you can't be working out 3 times a week, 45 minutes a day and turn into that. Like, that's just not going to happen. Like they're working out multiple hours a day, eating excessive amounts of calories. They're taking some banned substances as well. So like
a little bit of that.
Again, like you're not going to reach that point if you're just a golfer that's working out 3 days a week. you do not need to worry about getting too strong. But like, yeah, so like those type of people, like if you get to that where you're looking like that, like, yeah, that's when like you're going to start having some physical limitations. Like you're going to be too big and you're going to start hitting some sticking points in your swing, and it's going to kind of ruin your swing. But like, again, that does not need to be something that most people worry about. And in fact, like good strength training is one of the best things that you can do for your mobility. Because, you know, when it comes to golf, like, and then we can go into this, like, what's the difference between flexibility, mobility, strength, all that good stuff. So like a lot of people, they kind of throw out the term, like, I just need to get more flexible. Like I need to get more flexible. I need to do more stretching. I need to do all that. Like I hear that all the time from golfers. And it's like, yeah, that's good. But like, that's really not the most important thing you need. Like, yes, it's important to have that range of motion, but like what you really need is mobility. And so the difference is flexibility is what we would call like passive range of motion, which would be like you're able to kind of like force yourself into that certain position. So like a good example would be like if you're doing the splits, you're using like your body weight and gravity to kind of like force yourself into that position, but you're not really like able to control it. Mobility is when like you're able to have that full range of motion, but you're also have like stability built around it. So like if we take that split example, the splits would be flexibility. But like if you were to look at like, you know, one of those like karate guys that can like actually like kick and like use their own body to get into a split where they can actually like kick their foot up to the ceiling, like that's mobility, where they're actually able to control that range of motion. And then for golf, you know, even more than that, like you want to have mobility, but you also want to be able to produce force at those end ranges of motion. So like that's where strength training comes in, because like, yeah, you're able to, if you're doing good strength training where you're doing the movements correctly, you're going through full ranges of motion and you're building strength at both ends of that range of motion, then that's where it's like really beneficial for golf. And that's ultimately what you want. So yeah, that I would say like, yeah, stretching's good, but that's just like a small little piece of it. If you're doing smart strength training, like you're going to develop your mobility, you're going to be able to be able to produce force at those end ranges of motion, and you know it's going to help you even more.
Definitely learned something there.
Yeah, there's so much gold in that.
Yeah.
Last one from my side here. I just wanted a little bit of advice. You know, we talked about earlier, there's lots of people that get into our industry kind of later in life or as a second career or something like that. So maybe some ex-hockey players or athletes or things like that had trained earlier and now maybe don't train as much. Just some tips on getting back into working out and finding sort of a fitness program that works for you.
Don't be too overzealous. I think that's where most injuries happen, is people that were at one point a high level athlete and they've taken some time off and they kind of jump back in feeling like I can pick up right where I left off. That's where I see most people get hurt. Is like a classic example would be like if you're, you know, the guys that play pickup basketball, they were a high school all-star. They were great. They go a long time without playing. They're not really training at all. Then they go back to pick up basketball and they tear their Achilles or ACL. It's like, oh crap. So like, yeah, same thing with, you know, what you're doing in the gym, you know, slow progressions. That's going to be much better than, you know, trying to pick up right where you left off in the gym. But yeah, I mean, find a program. I would say find a coach, someone that knows like what to give you and is more knowledgeable in how to work out and how to get people started. Like that's going to be a great way to do it. And there's no shame in doing a program that's geared for beginners, even if you were a high level athlete at one point, you know, because the truth is like, if you were a high level athlete at one point, it's going to come back. Like you will be able to get it. Just be patient and it's going to come back, and it's going to come back faster than you realize. But yeah, I would just tell people to just trust the process.
My last question for you is, where do you get those cut off sleeve golf shirts? Got a Peter Millar special?
It's a Peter Millar special that I just cut the sleeves off on my own.
Okay. It's custom.
Yeah, custom. Mr. Millar did not custom make them for me. I just took what was on the shelf and then I did the customization on them.
I like it. By hand, right? You just
yes, yeah. There you go. Just
Hulkamaniac.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Just flex and they exploded off.
Yeah, that's awesome, John. This is great.
No, but I don't typically wear those out on the golf course. I'll say that. That's more for the gram. You know?
Yeah.
There you
got to
go.
do it. You got to do it every now and then. I love it. So tell people where they can find you, John.
Yeah. So I've got my website, golfgains.fitness. No .com or anything at it. Just type in golfgains.fitness, or where I put most of my content and everything else on Instagram, and that's at golfgains.fitness. That's the easiest place to find me. If you want to ever reach out to me, shoot me a DM, or I've got my email somewhere on my website. I'm sure. Haven't looked,
Beautiful.
but it's somewhere on there.
Is the app just in App Store as Golf Gains within the? Okay, cool. I'm going to be downloading it as soon as we're done.
Yeah, and I'm going to go have a big protein meal and make sure that we're getting all that stuff.
So I was worried about getting too strong and having it impact my golf game. So now that I know that's not a problem, I guess I'll get back into it.
Yeah, I think you're good. I think you're fine.
Yeah. When we first started talking about having you on, John, me and Brian were just saying, we're just going to use the whole episode to just figure out our own lives and what we need to do for ourselves. And then if it ends up being an episode,
it could be the most selfish episode we've ever recorded. Yeah.
Very, very selfish. If there's any.
That's the best way to learn.
I love it. We usually like to just leave a couple minutes here at the end just to let you talk about anything you want to talk about. I don't know if you have any last words of wisdom or anything you want to put out there, any key things people should think about to, maintain their fitness and health journey, all that.
I would say, we kind of went into like one of the big myths of golf fitness being like, strength training is going to ruin your golf swing. And I would say probably the other thing that I see a lot of that I would want to, put on people's radar is, I think a lot of people have a misconception of the other main misconception that people have with golf fitness is like when you're in the gym, like every exercise that you're doing needs to look similar to the golf swing. And that's just not really backed by research. My big saying is that, you want to use the gym to build your body and use the golf course or the range to build your swing or refine your swing. So like when you're at the gym, like work on the fundamentals, work on the stuff that's going to just add like raw strength and power, like those 6 movement patterns that we were talking about, like get really good and proficient at those. Like that's what's going to really help build the engine. And then when you're at the golf course, like that's when you do most of your golfy stuff. That's when you're swinging. That's when you're working on your golf swing. Don't get the two confused. So that would be, what I would say most, like, I think there's a lot of misinformation about that people see. Like when I'm doing my training, 80% of the training is going to be focused on like those main movements that, like I was talking about, translate into every sport, like whether you're a football, baseball, hockey player, that focus on that stuff. And then those other like more rotational kind of golfy looking stuff, like that's just kind of like you kind of sprinkle that stuff in there. Like don't make that the main thing. That's the accessory work. So
beautiful.
Awesome. Well, we can't thank you enough for your time today, John. This has been very insightful, and I think there's some people that'll definitely take a few nuggets out of this and hopefully apply them to their own lives. I know I definitely caught a few things there.
Fantastic.
Awesome. John, this has been great. Can't thank you enough for your time.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, man.
Yeah, John. Keep in touch, okay, brother? This has been awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
Later.
That was great. Got some info. Good dude.
Yeah, definitely some selfish stuff there because ever since getting into turf, I feel like my strength has come down a little bit. I've always kind of kept the weight off, never really put too much weight on again, but just strength, I can definitely tell you lose your little bit of strength and mobility and stuff. So I keep telling myself I'm going to get back in the gym or start working out again, start lifting weights again. And that's a little bit of motivation right there. It helps.
When you get into the real world, you know what I mean? You start life and you get busy with work and with kids. It's just one of those things. I think I've seen everyone that I know go through the same stuff. It's like, all right, you stop taking care of yourself because you've got so much else going on. And, the later in life, the older I get now, the more I know I need to be doing something, whether it's just walking, it's like, I find myself when I'm out at work, I'm, in a rental car, driving somewhere, in an airplane, sitting down, and then in a golf cart, cruising around, getting images and all that. I don't get enough steps in. I don't ever have time to go to a gym. It is what it is. And
doing your best.
Yeah. Well, not really. Just doing my best to work and see kids and that kind of stuff. But, I'm at the age now where it's like, well, shit, I want to be around to see my grandkids, and so I start taking care of myself. So it's nice to have John on here, give us a little insight onto some of the key things to be thinking about, and just some nuggets to stay healthy.
Yeah, I've always used the excuse, well, we have a physical job, and why would I do anything else, Yeah. But I think there's a lot there, especially when he talks about how much protein you have to eat in a day, and how much you have to work out to just kind of keep it up. So definitely something to try out. But we understand more than anybody that the grind of the summer can be really tough, and there's not everything that you can do. You can't be in a full fitness program or having 3-course meals every day. So you really got to do your best to pick your spots and find time to prepare. If you have to prepare to go to the gym or prepare some meals or something like that to make sure you're fed on the course, and just do your best. And it's something you'll be working at your whole life, it sounds like.
And that's the hardest part too, is meal prep. It's because that takes time doing it, right there, just doing the research on, all right, how many grams of protein is this? What's this? And then preparing it all and packaging it all. It's like there for a while, we started trying to do some meal planning on Sunday afternoons. And that's, after a while, it's like, we don't have time to meal prep anymore. I mean,
Sunday afternoon, we're busy.
Yeah. God. Yeah. It's hard, man. It can be hard, but it's important. Mm-hmm. There's no question.
It's very important. Yeah. And my wife, she's from Louisiana, so big food culture down there. They do a lot of cooking, a lot of community cooking. So she's always cooking, which is good. And there's always kind of something to grab. And I'm terrible for grabbing fast food or, skipping a meal or having an extra meal late at night or something like that. So there's definitely ways to make those things a little bit easier on yourself and try and not being too crazy with the nutrition.
Yep. Yeah, no question.
Thank you again so much to John Irvine for his time. Everybody, we will see you next week for another episode of Turf Today. Keep those reels sharp.
Your pretty little heartbreak, pretty little runaway. But you got your mini skirt, you're showing some skin. I think there's something going on, babe, between you and him. But you got your sunshade, you're showing your eyes. That I'm catching on, babe, to your disguise. Your pretty little heartbreak, pretty little runaway. Come on and hit me with your heartache. Your pretty little heartbreak. You got your high heel in a pearly white gown. You're cursing my name all over my side of town. But I'll show up too drunk, get on up in his face, and we'll have it out, babe, in the middle of the promenade.